The power of courage, walking forward with faith and strength. My dear friends, there are moments in every human life when the road ahead seems uncertain. Moments when the heart feels heavy, when fear whispers doubts into the mind, and when the path forward appears hidden behind clouds of uncertainty. In those moments, one quiet but powerful force becomes the difference between staying where we are and stepping forward into the life we are meant to live. That force is courage. Courage is one of the most beautiful and powerful qualities a human being can possess. It is not loud or boastful. It does not demand attention or applause. Instead, courage often appears in the quiet decisions we make every day. The decision to try again, the decision to forgive, the decision to believe that tomorrow can be better than today. Courage is the strength of the human spirit in motion. And perhaps one of the most comforting truths is this: courage does not mean the absence of fear. In fact, courage often begins exactly where fear appears. Fear is part of being human. It reminds us that we care deeply about the things we face in life, but courage is what allows us to move forward despite that fear. Courage says, "I will keep going." The courage to begin. Many of the greatest journeys in life begin with a single moment of courage, a moment when someone decides to step into the unknown. Think about the dreams people carry in their hearts. Dreams of building a new life, pursuing a calling, helping others, or creating something meaningful in the world. Every one of those dreams begins with a courageous step. Often the first step is the hardest. The voice of doubt may say, "What if you fail? What if you are not strong enough? What if the road becomes too difficult?" But courage responds with a quiet truth. What if it leads to something beautiful? Courage invites us to step forward before we know exactly how the story will unfold. It teaches us that growth happens when we move beyond the borders of comfort. The courage to stand firm. There are times in life when courage means standing strong rather than moving forward. Standing for what is right. Standing for kindness when the world feels harsh. Standing for truth when it would be easier to remain silent. These moments may not always be easy, but they shape the character of a person. Courage forms the foundation of integrity. It is the inner strength that allows people to remain faithful to their values, even when the world around them becomes uncertain. History is filled with individuals who changed the world simply because they had the courage to stand for what they believed was right. They were not always the strongest or the most powerful, but they were brave enough to act, and that courage created ripples of change far beyond what they could see. The courage to keep going. Life's path is rarely smooth. Every person experiences setbacks, disappointments, and moments of heartbreak. Sometimes plans fall apart. Sometimes doors close unexpectedly. Sometimes life asks more of us than we think we can give. It is in these moments that courage becomes something deeper. Not the courage to begin, but the courage to continue. The courage to rise again after falling. The courage to hope again after disappointment. The courage to believe that a new chapter can begin even when the previous one has ended. Resilience is courage stretched across time. It is the quiet determination to keep moving forward step by step. The courage to be kind. One of the most underestimated forms of courage is kindness. It takes courage to show compassion in a world where many people are hurting. It takes courage to forgive someone who has caused pain. It takes courage to open your heart again after it has been broken. Kindness is not weakness. It is strength guided by love. When people choose kindness, they create light in places where darkness once lived. A single act of kindness can change someone's entire day. Sometimes it can change their life. And that is why courage and compassion are deeply connected. The bravest hearts are often the most loving ones. The courage to believe. Faith itself requires courage. To believe in hope when circumstances look difficult. To trust that life has meaning, even when the path ahead is unclear. Many spiritual traditions remind us that courage and faith walk hand in hand. One of the most inspiring reminders of courage appears in Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. These words hold a powerful truth. Courage becomes easier when we remember we are not walking through life alone. There is strength available beyond our own strength. There is guidance available beyond our own understanding. Faith reminds us that courage does not depend entirely on our own power. Sometimes courage comes from trusting something greater than ourselves. The courage to grow. Growth often requires leaving behind the familiar. A seed cannot become a tree if it remains closed. A person cannot grow if they never move beyond what they already know. Courage invites us to grow, to learn, to evolve. Sometimes growth asks us to let go of old fears. Sometimes it asks us to forgive past mistakes. Sometimes it asks us to believe in possibilities that once seemed impossible. But each step forward expands the horizon of who we can become. The courage to love. Perhaps the greatest courage of all is the courage to love. Love requires vulnerability. It requires trust. It requires the willingness to open the heart even when there is a risk of pain. Yet love is also the most powerful force in human life. It creates connection. It builds families and communities. It inspires acts of generosity and sacrifice. When people choose love, they choose courage. Because love says, I will care deeply, I will give freely, I will believe in the goodness of others. And that courage has the power to transform the world. The courage that lives inside you. Sometimes people imagine courage as something possessed only by heroes. But the truth is that courage lives inside every human heart. It appears in parents who sacrifice for their children, in workers who persevere through challenges, in individuals who face illness with strength, in people who rebuild their lives after loss. Every time someone chooses hope over despair, courage is present. Every time someone helps another person in need, courage is present. Every time someone rises after falling, courage is present. Courage is not rare. It is simply waiting to be awakened. A final reflection. My friends, courage is not a single moment. It is a way of living. It is the quiet decision made day after day to move forward with strength, kindness, and faith. There will always be moments when fear appears, but courage reminds us that fear does not have the final word. Hope does, faith does, love does. And when you walk with courage, something extraordinary begins to happen. You discover strength you did not know you possessed. You inspire others simply by living bravely. And the path ahead begins to shine with new possibilities. So wherever you are in life today, remember this: you are stronger than you think, you are braver than you feel, and the courage you seek is already within you, waiting to guide you forward into the life you are meant to live. May you walk with courage, may you speak with kindness, may you live with faith, and may your life become a light that encourages others to be brave as well. Thank you.